Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at the Disney Space Mountain game. Now, Space Mountain is one of the most beloved rides at Disney World, Disneyland. I'm not a huge fan of it because I like to see where I'm going when I'm on a ride, but I get why people like it. Very popular. Roller coaster in the darkness. Ooh, Space Mountain. So this is, I think, like the 6th Disney ride now to get a board game, and they've been all over the place. Some are pretty bad. Thunder Mountain, the components actually make the game unplayable. Jungle Cruise, terrible game, but you never know. Could this be good? Ravensburger's a pretty solid company. Let's find out. All right, folks, here is the board for this game. At the beginning of the game, you're going to put out all these little exclamation points. Those are like points of discovery on those spots. You're also supposed to put these stations here. They fit into these different slots on the board. But they're going to get in your way so much because you need to be flying your little spaceship around them that you will probably never play with these. They're a waste of time and space. And in fact, I want to talk for a bit right now about how horrific the production for this game is. That's one problem. Another problem that you have is these spaceships, you're going to be flying them all over the place. They're little plastic spaceships. They can often be in the same space, sometimes going different directions, which matters. How do you do that? Even in the same direction, they don't stack. They don't stack going in other directions. Then I know that they can go in the same space because the rulebook specifically said so. So that's pretty terrible. Then there's this monstrosity dice tower thing in which you're supposed to drop some dice in it like this. The dice have a few signs here. This means turn. Does it? And this means go straight. I guess that one makes sense. But that's all the different sides are. But this thing's a pain to build, doesn't work very well. Then you're keeping track of fuel, which is pretty important in this, which doesn't stand up, so I've taken the stands off. Slides pretty not easily along here. But at least you have some bad quality cards. Yeah, it's just a really bad production. Anyway, each person has missions in front of them. A, B, C, D, and E. You get one of each. They are slightly different. You also get these different tokens to show the different stations that are out here. You'll start with your color face up. The rest will be face down like this. So in each round of the game, someone's going to be rolling the dice. Before rolling the dice, you can decide to stop. This matters because if you don't stop and the fuel runs out, and the fuel gets one lower every time an orange die is rolled in the machine. If you run out of fuel, then any check marks that you have on missions that aren't completed will go away if you didn't stop. But if you stop, you can leave those check marks there. Also, if you get check marks on a complete mission, then you'll be able to turn that over, which is how you win the game. You need to complete all 5 of your missions, and you need to turn over all the different stations in front of you, and you do that by visiting each station on the board. Once everybody decides whether they're going to stay or not stay, the people who do stay will then move. If you get a straight, you're going to follow the 3 dice that come out, whether they're orange or blue, you follow them in order. If you get straight, you'll move 2 spaces straight. If you get a curve, you'll move 2 spaces like this, or like this. However, if at any point you hit something, like one of these exclamation points, you'll turn it face up. And then if you have a free check mark of that spot, in which case this is my mission A, you can put it there. I could also put it on the question mark because this takes any. And I believe there are 3 of each of these on the board. There is some wild ones, which are pretty awesome. And then there are ones like these, which are not on your cards. Instead, that sends you back to one of your bases. Each round, after everyone has stopped or everyone's been lost fuel, you'll come back on the board and you can start on any base where you have the color side face up. If you land on one of these, then you will immediately zoom to the other side of it and keep moving. If you hit the edge of the board does wrap. So if you come here, you go to the other side and your movement stops. That's pretty much the game. You're just running around trying to be as efficient as possible. And that's how you play Space Mountain. Folks, I have to ding this for the component quality. It's that bad. I mean, it's not unplayable like Thunder Mountain is. But man, the chips are fine and it looks cool. It's a space board, but it's just that dice tower, those pieces, the whole thing. It's just, you're playing with not everything. The ships are constantly landing on top of each other. The movement is kind of interesting. If you think about it, every time you move straight, you don't have an option. You know, you just go straight. The only time you have an option is when you turn. So there is a bit of, okay, I'm going to turn, go straight, and then turn. So if I turn this way and go straight, then I can go that way or that way. If I turn this way and go straight, I can turn that way or that way. You only have so many options that you can do. It's like a programming game, except the programming's random. And sometimes, you are trying to hit something on a board and you just keep going in circles around it. That will happen, especially near the end of the game. You're just going in circles around something, waiting for the proper dice to be rolled. There's definitely a lot of luck on those dice. Where the stuff is on the board is a little lucky, but once it is all revealed, you can, and then let's say the pink player is closer to the wilds, I can just go land on their station, and then I can come out from the pink one and land on the wilds too. So I don't think that's a big deal. It's very, very light, and honestly, if I would give it a recommendation, I'd give it a cautious recommendation because of how light it is, but I enjoyed a lot of the game. I liked flying around. I liked flying off the board and coming around. It was neat to see where you would go. There's a little bit of push your luck, like there's only 2 fuel left, so you could roll 2 oranges and we ran out of fuel, but I don't know, I'll just push my luck a little bit more. So you get to make that choice, and then you get to make the choices when you turn. Not a ton of choices, but some choices. But then here's the thing, that is very light as it is, and when you couple it with the bad components, I cannot recommend this. I can't even say it's fine. I have to give this a 5.5. because this could have been fantastic. I understand, and sometimes when I talk about this is a mass market game for sure, people are like, oh, they had to cut corners to make this, a palatable price for the mass market. But I just don't buy that. I understand that you got to make things cheaper, but if you make them so cheap that they're unplayable, then it's not worth it. It's not worth it. It's like buying a very poor quality pair of shoes that are going to run out, and then you have to buy another poor quality pair of shoes to take their place. You might as well save up and get better shoes. I feel the same way here. I'm not expecting some grandiose game. Simple, fine. I don't mind that this game has few choices. I do mind, though, that it offers these space stations, which are actually a hindrance. It offers a really cheap dice tower that falls apart, and then it couples that with really simple decisions that I just don't know that this is one that I would recommend anyone buying. So that's too bad, so Space Mountain could have been better, but unfortunately, a lot of problems. I'm Tom Vasel. You've been watching The Dice Tower.